So you've got your exam, but now you haven't got a job, or you want to get a job. So what do you do? It's the Job Skills Workshop.
The interview is your chance to sell yourself. Sometimes that feels a little bit uncomfortable, but I think the interview is a time that you really need to say what you've done and why you're the good candidate for the role.
Because you want the job. Hi, it's Jonathan.
Hi, Amy.
And this is Cut to the Case. And Amy, it's been a while. You've been busy.
I have been busy, yeah.
We're going to talk some education. We're going to talk about what happened last week.
Yeah.
Care to inform me what the workshop was, because I missed it.
Yeah, so
What
it
did we
was
do?
a pretty good workshop that we ran last week out of the department. So it was really aimed at the post-OSCE trainees that are about to start looking for facing jobs for the first time. So really looking at how they're going to get the job, how they can prepare their CVs, cover letters.
Yeah, okay. So
and interview tips as well.
So all the stuff to do. So you've got your exam, but now you haven't got a job, or you want to get a job. So what do you do? How the hell do you move from that phase to the next? So what did you guys talk about?
Yeah, so we had some really good tips on CVs, cover letters. We went through some interview tips with one of our clinicians who also used to be an interview coach. And then we did some practice interview questions. And then there was a bit of a discussion panel about, what are the main concerns that you have about transitioning from registrar to consultant.
Well, why don't we break that down and we'll go through those things.
Yeah.
So, let's start with, you write your letter or you type your letter.
Yeah.
Tips for CV?
Yeah, so there was quite a few things that come out of that discussion. One of the main things was to not keep it too long. So maybe 2-3 pages at the very most. If it's anything longer than that, then it's too much to read through. Yes. And also just keep it relevant. So I'm up to date.
I can't put my sporting achievements in Year 12 or something? Is that not relevant?
Unfortunately not.
No. What happens if it was really good?
Unfortunately not. So it depends on what role you're going for. But if you're going for your first consultant job, some of the things that you maybe rotations that you did as an intern probably less relevant. So keep it updated and keep it pretty short.
I think that's probably the key thing, isn't it? So you should probably be always updating your CV.
Yeah.
And then if you do that, you drop things out that are not so relevant. So because you're kind of showing people what your experience is and what you're good at, and you're selling yourself. So it's what I'm good at. There might be something from Year 12 that was important, maybe, but actually, no. Keep it relevant to the job. Yeah. Anything else on a CV?
I guess just you might need to restructure the headings depending on what you're planning for. So, for example, if you're planning for something in the education field, then you might, have its own headings in education, etc. So you might need to restructure it in the headings depending on what job you're
applying for. So put education up higher and other things down lower. All right. Okay, so that's CV, and probably use some sort of nice template. Yeah,
there's so many nice templates out these days. So Canva and lots of other platforms have nice templates, so do use them.
But don't make it too long. Useful. Make it look smart, snappy, no spelling mistakes, I guess. Yeah. What about the cover letter? Any tips for that?
Cover letter is pretty important because it kind of introduces some sort of personalization to the application that you're doing. So one of the main tips for that was just to be really careful about the use of AI. Some of the people in the room who had read quite a few number of cover letters thought that was really obvious when an applicant had used AI, so too many adjectives.
It's obvious. I can tell you, working as someone who has done a lot of recruiting, the cover letter is where it is. I look at the CV. Actually, I look at the references on the CV. That's probably the main thing I look at. But the cover letter, the way people write things, if you sound like a robot or it just sounds the same, I'm like, nah, sorry, not interested. It needs to be punchy, nice, human, and it needs to say something about yourself, I think. And AI is not going to do that. So, and also you can run it through and check whether AI made it anyway. You can check that.
So you can use AI, I guess, tactfully. So just to restructure sentences and things like that, but just to make sure it's
let's face it, you can't avoid it. AI will correct and rephrase things, and that's good. But just be careful. It's got to sound human.
Yeah. And on sounding human, just really important that you're addressing the cover letter to the right person. So say instead of dear hiring manager, specifically address the person who's looking after the
because again I get that email and I go, well, that's not for me, or that is for me, and you've got my name wrong or you've got my position wrong, and to me it kind of says you haven't done your research.
Not off to a good start.
Someone else might have done more research and you haven't done your research, so not as interested, not as impressed.
Yeah.
Any other things on the AI? Oh, I know another thing. You should Google yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's important.
Yeah. Not all the time. Just don't Google yourself every day, but you should Google yourself and just see what comes up.
Yeah.
Because there might be some social media post that comes up that you don't like.
Yeah.
Or there might be something that comes up, because guess what? We'll be Googling you.
Yeah. So just be careful with social media, and you might want to make it private.
Make it private.
Yeah, just in case.
Okay. Some things stay there forever, but because they might know you for what you did on social media. Be aware of that. Okay, so that's the background stuff before the interview. What about when you come to the interview? Tips for the interview?
So there was the usual advice about making sure that you set time aside, that if it's online, that you check the IT. You don't want to be stressing that your internet's dropping out if you're just about to have a Zoom interview, making sure that you're dressed quite smartly. But in terms of some of the important take-home points for the interview, we found that if you're, for a specific question, for example, if you asked about what your weaknesses is, just really trying to bring that back to, this is one of my weaknesses, but it's also an area that I'm trying to improve.
Yeah.
So trying to turn a sort of a negative into a positive.
And you can obviously think of this before you work this out beforehand.
Yeah, you're
and
going
you
to
get
prepare.
some examples and you prepare for it, and you might get a few examples, and you probably don't want a weakness. Oh, my weakness is I work too hard.
Exactly.
That's just stupid, right?
But
So
generic and
I care too much for my patients. That's my weakness.
Yeah.
So you want to have a realistic kind of, probably truthful weakness.
Yeah, you want it to be genuine to you.
Yeah, and that has a bit of an example. And then, I know this people said it, and I've been working, or I've done this thing, or I've practiced this thing, or I've done some course to get better at it.
Yeah, so really prepping those really commonly used interview questions is useful, and have lots of examples, particularly about conflict and things like that.
Yeah, because it's pretty, let's face it, planning the interviews, you've got a stock standard of questions, and you want to make it standardised for everyone. So they have to be the same.
Yeah.
Right? They have to be standardised. So it's only going to be a few things going to be asked, I think. What about references? I touched on it. Any tips for references?
I think it's probably a good idea to, if you're applying to a hospital that you've never worked in before, to try and use the director of your current department. And if that director isn't available, for example, if you are applying to that hospital, just to use someone quite high up in leadership. You might want to use your DMT, someone senior that you worked with before. And you might, it doesn't have to be a doctor, so you can use senior nursing staff or someone else that you've done a project with.
And that actually looks pretty good. Yeah, that looks like you're part of the whole team.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know, when I did recruiting, I'm really just looking to see who the references are, because I'm going to call them. I'm going to say, well, nice letter, CV look good, but what are they really like?
Yeah.
Tell me something about them. So that's where I get my information. So choose your references well.
And let your references know that they'll be expecting a call, because you want someone to be cold call.
There's nothing worse than, I remember them, they worked for me like 3 years ago, and what are they up to now? Oh, okay. No, you need to word them up, give them the call, and they're your references, they're there to help you.
Yep.
But they probably just need a reminder beforehand. Okay. What else did you talk about in this workshop?
We kind of touched on how the interview is your chance to sell yourself, and sometimes that feels a little bit uncomfortable. And I know that as doctors we are particularly bad at, selling ourselves and sort of blowing our own trumpets. But I think the interview is a time that you really need to say what you've done and why you're the good candidate for the role.
Yes.
So one of the tips were, if you've kind of worked in a team before, really start using the word I. So instead of we have done this, that's fine, but what particularly have you done?
I was part of this team and I did this and I did that and my team did this. And that's what I propose to do, going forward.
Yep.
So that turns the team's work into your work, because you want the job. So you need to market yourself, because your competition will do that.
Yeah,
and your competition will get the job ahead of you. So you just need to up it, because people don't know you. They'll hear from the reference, but they don't necessarily know how good you are on the floor. They don't know you from a bar of soap.
Yeah.
The other thing is niche areas. So non-clinical or clinical support areas. Have you got any tips about that?
Yeah, so sometimes it just comes naturally. So if you start to be interested in something as a trainee or registrar, it might just flow naturally into your work as a consultant. But sometimes it doesn't, and I think that's okay. So you might not find your niche straight away. Don't stress too much about it. That can come with time, and also it can change. So you might be interested in something 1 year and then maybe move into something else. So wouldn't stress too much about finding your niche straight away.
Probably have some idea of what you might do within non-clinical time.
Yeah. So
should I get a job?
If you have an idea, particularly if you are planning for a department that you know they might need someone with a particular skill in one area, and that you're interested in that, you would really be sort of.
So that really feeds into right back to the start, doesn't it? So research the department, you're looking at getting a job in, what do they need? It seems like they need this, or they're short on this. Guess what? That's what I like doing. So you can promote yourself as that. And you don't have to stick to that, but that might be a way in. So I'm really good at ultrasound, I love it. I see that there's a spot for probably expansion in your ultrasound program. When I was worked as a team, I led the ultrasound program. We did this. We started this initiative, and I'd like to continue to do that when I work for you. So
the panel wants to see how you're going to fit into their department.
Yeah, because that's what we're really looking for. Someone, how's this person going to fit in? How are they going to join our team? Yeah. Okay. So now, last thing. I know you spoke about some anxieties and worries, because I've heard a bit about this, but so when you get the job, you're a consultant starting off, what are people worried about?
We found that most of the discussion was about fears, I guess, about not having all the answers, and that was okay. So some of the anxiety around, once you're a consultant, that means that you're at the end of the line, and if you don't know the answer, then what? Yeah,
and I guess the exam kind of sets you up for that, right? The exam kind of sets you up for, you got to know everything. But guess what? I've been a consultant, you've been a consultant, we've been consultants for a while, and we don't know everything, but we sure as hell know how to find it or to problem solve. And I guess you get comfortable with that over time. I ask people, right? Because you forget things, right? So actually, I'll ask the new consultant, because the new consultant's just done the exam, or they're not far from the exam. They will often know the latest way to manage something, or stats on this, or something like that.
Yes, that's the lucky thing about doing emergency, is that we do work in a team, and there's always someone to ask. So not to stress too much about
that. I wouldn't stress too much. New consultant, you're gonna be possibly not familiar with the department either. So there's a lot of different processes, so it's a lot of questions, it's asking questions, and that actually gets you into the team anyway. Still asking questions hundreds of years on into the job, and it's actually one of the most rewarding parts of the job. Well, that sounds like a great workshop. Really exciting stuff, and that's just one of the things we do at Royal Melbourne. So good stuff, Amy. Well, thanks for updating me on what I missed last week. That is the Job Skills Workshop. All right. See you all next time. Bye.